So what is better, light arrows that are fast or heavy arrows that hit hard? I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well as the way I build my arrows and what shafts I'm currently using in this video. Alright guys, so let's get to it. I'm going to talk about arrows today. I'm going to first talk about what arrows I use compared to the arrows I used to use, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about why I use those arrows, why I switched to a heavier arrow, and then I'm going to get into the components, the way I build my arrows now, and how that's been working for me. So to start out, I am currently shooting Easton Axis, the 5mm Axis, so they're not the injection sized, but they are small diameter compared to the 6mm, which is the standard sized diameter. These are match grade, which means they're 0.01 straightness, I believe, instead of 0.03, which are the standard ones. I haven't noticed a huge difference in accuracy with these compared to the 0.03. I do have some of those also, but they were on sale and they were only $1 or so more expensive, so I decided to go with that, and I've been really happy with these arrows. On the back, I've got 3 AAE Max Stealth vanes. I switched from blazers to these vanes a little while ago because they were just quieter. They're a little lower profile, but they're longer. So they're quieter, but they have the same steering ability, and I haven't noticed any difference in accuracy, so I'm really happy with them. I also, when I bought these arrows, tried a 4-fletch configuration and a 3-fletch configuration. I split the half dozen and did 3 and 3. Didn't notice any significant difference in the way that they shot, and I wanted to reduce the weight on the back of that arrow to increase my front of center slightly so that one vane extra wasn't necessary. I was buying more vanes, and it's just cheaper to fletch with 3. It's simpler. So these arrows are the 300 spine, so they're pretty stiff, but my draw length is 29.5 inches, and I'm shooting an arrow that's like 30 inches or so. And because of the length and the fact that I'm shooting 70 pounds, the 300 spine, I was on the brink between 340 and 300 spine. I could have gone either way, but I decided, because I use 50 grain brass inserts in the front. These are 75 grains. If you break them off, they're a 50 grain brass insert. So it improves my front of center. Because of that, I switched and went to the 300 spine, just so I wasn't underspined because of that weight up front. So if you put a lot of weight up front, you're going to underspine your arrows. They're going to flex more because that weight is keeping the front of the arrow stationary as the arrow flexes out of the bow. So basically it's the equivalent of using a heavier broadhead. So if I would use a 125 grain broadhead with a regular aluminum insert, it would probably be about the same weight. The reason that I use a 50 grain brass insert instead of the full 75 grains is it just gives me a little bit of flexibility. If I want to add weight, I can always use a 125 grain head instead of the 100. Whereas if you glue the full 75 in, once it's in there, and you can't break it off anymore. So I just like having that versatility. If I did ever want to go heavier, I could always switch to a field point that was 125 grains, and that would give me that extra 25 grains that I broke off. One major thing I noticed switching from the lighter arrows that I used to use is that these fly a lot quieter. A heavier arrow with these Max Stealth vanes leaves the bow quieter, makes the bow quieter at the shot, but also as that arrow's flying, it's going to be much, much quieter than a higher profile short vane like a blazer or anything similar. I'm not just singling out blazer vanes. A lot of people like them, and I like them for a long time, but this is kind of the setup that I'm running now. Stealth and quiet flight has become a lot more important to me recently, so that's why I decided to make the switch. As far as the light-heavy debate goes, my finished arrow weight is right around 480 to 500 grains, which is a little heavier than I was planning on. I think that 420 to 470 grain range is the best range to be in if you're hunting whitetails in the east, as well as hunting out west, big animals like elk, and you want to hit a little harder. It's a good balance between speed, penetration, power, quiets your bow down, as I mentioned. So I think that these are a really good compromise compared to something like a full metal jacket on one end of the spectrum, or extremely light arrows that some people use on the other end of the spectrum that have difficulty penetrating. So I would really recommend you switch to a heavier arrow, give it a try. Even if you just buy 1 or 2 shafts, I order these from Lancaster Archery Supply, and they actually allow you to order. You can order 1 shaft if you want, so you can build an arrow, try it, see if you like it. I ordered 3 to start, and then I liked them, so I bought more, and I worked my way up to a dozen. The way they sell them like that by the single arrow really gives you the ability to kind of customize and say, I want to try one of each of these shafts and see which one shoots best out of your bow, see which one you're more confident in, and I think you'll be really happy. Speed can be beneficial. especially at close range, string jumping deer, people talk about a lot. There are a lot of people in the industry that have been hunting for a long time that really like a light arrow that flies fast. My biggest downfall with that is in wind, it's going to be influenced a lot more, as well as speed isn't that important to me. I went on an elk hunt last year, so I wanted to use a heavier arrow. Steers a little better in the wind, and it's going to hit harder and penetrate better on an animal, which is also why I like the small diameter for all those reasons. Prevents wind influence on the arrow. It's going to hit harder, it's going to penetrate better. And because it's a smaller diameter, it's actually going to be a thicker wall of carbon, so they're also more durable, and I have noticed a big difference with that. I have been really impressed with the Easton Axis arrow. I think it's definitely worth the money. If you're interested in them, I would really recommend checking them out, but I would really recommend you go with these heavy brass inserts. If you do that, I think it's going to really increase your front of center, allow the arrow to steer better, hit harder. I just don't see any major downside to it, other than that you're losing a little bit of speed, which isn't the most important thing to me at this point in my archery career. I'm sure at some point I'll switch back and be a speed freak again, but right now I'm content shooting around 260 feet per second. Like I said, I'm extremely happy with the Easton Axis arrows, and I'm probably going to stick with them for a long time. So thank you so much for watching once again. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll put my handle down in the description. It's just Galin_Swigart. Also subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like the information. I'm going to be doing a lot more archery information, as well as going back to some hunting gear reviews in the near future. So thank you guys once again so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day.